Hi, welcome to our next poem. It is Pryslied by Henk, and not a difficult poem, just loaded with meaning and quite a few historical references that you'll have to know. But I've made some notes for you. This will sort you out. I think it'll be more than enough to understand this poem. So just remember that this is how we do it. We look at the Afrikaans poem over here, and then we have the English translation, which is very important. It's just one I did myself, so forgive me if there are a few mistakes there, but I'm sure it will be fine. And then here are those notes that I'm sure will really benefit you if you want to do better in the poetry. If you're struggling with Afrikaans in general, please go to C&A and get the Afrikaans Made Simple books, just to, especially this purple one or the cheat sheets one, just to make sure that you've covered all your bases, that you don't fail Afrikaans, or that you turn that 77 into an 80, or that 60, 65 or whatever into a B. These books will really help you to do that. Anyway, enough with that. Let's go on with the poem, and please tell all your friends, even from other schools, just to have a look at this channel so they can also benefit. Excellent. Let's just double check that we are recording. Yes, we are. Cool. Pryslied. This will take a while, so just bear with me. I'd rather do it properly the first time. In die sandklip hart vandag staan hy. Okay, so let's just go through this. So in the sandstone heart, today he stands. Okay, this he is Nelson Mandela. I'm just going to explain the context as we go through the translation as well, to save some time. So today he's standing. So that he there is Nelson Mandela. He's standing there, kop en skraal skouers staan hy bo almal uit. So head and skinny shoulders, he stands head and shoulders above the other people. Okay, so this is probably at the point of time when he became president of South Africa. So that was the 10th of May 1994, and this is like a song, a song of praise, or a song of admiration, or it could also be a speech that someone says as he becomes president. So that's the setting here. Okay, so it didn't literally happen, but if this poet, or if this narrator had to do a speech, this is what she would say about, or he would say, in this case it's a woman, would say about Nelson Mandela. Okay, so he's there. He's probably at the Union Buildings in Pretoria. Okay, head and shoulders, he stands above everyone else. We'll look at the meaning of that later. Houtskool en as is sy are. Okay, in sy hare, sorry. So charcoal and ash he has in his hair. Alright. He, the sand-colored boy, die sandkleurige seun van Unosekeni. Okay, Unosekeni was his mom, his biological mom. There they use an indentation and they say again, Unosekeni, die ma van Mandela, the mother of the person that we know, Nelson Mandela. Sand-colored, referring to his light brown skin. Remember, he was a Xhosa boy, Xhosa man. Okay, so this young boy, he had sand-colored skin, dark brown. Hy, die man met die vleesige handpalms. Okay, so he had nice big fleshy hands, soft, warm hands, which was apparently the case. I checked on Google, but there's a deeper meaning with that, which we'll discuss later. Hier staan hy. Here he stands. Okay, again a short line with a lot of space after it. here he stands. Where is he from? Out of die gevestigde familie van Benguga. Okay, so this out of this tribe, out of this family, okay, out of this family tree. Die seun van Dalindyebo, okay, this was this guy was the man that looked after him. He basically raised him when his real father died. When he was 12 years old, his real father died. Then this man raised him to be the young man that he was. And interesting is that so his real dad was Mahatma Mandela. Hey, there, I've got the notes on this. That's where he picked up the surname. Okay, but his real dad was, I see I put it in the wrong place here, was an important man. He was the counselor to the Tembu king. Okay, so hy van die rivieroevers van Ngunu, from the river banks of Ngunu, that's where he came from. That's his place of birth, geboorteplek. Heelmaker uit die Tembu stam. He's a healer from the Tembu tribe. So a stam would be a tribe, eh? Okay. And it's not a literal healer. We'll look at that just now. Heelmaker. So this is the explanation. This is where he's coming from. This is his family tree. This is biographical information about Nelson Mandela. Okay? Goes on. 'n klein swart ster priem sy bolip. A small black star pierces his upper lip. Okay, this small black star is a little, you may have noticed it. He has a little mole on his upper lip. Ons prys hom. We praise him. We, not like worship, like praise and worship, not in a religious sense. It's an admiration. Okay? Hy wat nie lag nie en nie huil nie. This boy, the one, or this man now, the one who doesn't laugh and doesn't cry. Okay. Eerste ratelaar van Mkhonto Sizwe. The first leader of the organization Mkhonto Sizwe, which we know was the sort of military or armed wing, the armed section of the ANC. Die swart pimpernel, okay, the black pimpernel, okay, the black pimpernel. We'll look at where that reference comes from. It was anyway, I've got a note on that for you. It was a character from the French Revolution, an Englishman who helped some of the French escape the country without being killed, and he used many used masks and wigs and things to disguise himself. Okay, and we also know that Nelson Mandela did the same thing when he was busy with his resistance work for Mkhonto Sizwe. He used disguises as well, just like that. So that's where the reference comes from. But there is a note, so don't stress. Okay. Hy wat nie lag nie en ook nie huil nie. Again, interesting that this is repeated. The one who doesn't laugh and doesn't cry. Okay, there is a note on that. Hier staan hy dan nou voor ons. Here he stands in front of us now. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. Okay, so we look at the exact meaning of his name because the poem asks us to. It talks about the branch. Okay, so his name has something to do with a branch, which we'll unpack just now. 'n getrokke tak van lank gelede, a drawn branch, or a pulled out branch from long ago. something that you would pull from the ground or pull from a tree. Okay, die sleepsel van sy blare lê wyd. So if you drag a branch over the soil, it'll leave sort of a trace or perhaps a track, and in the track there will be leaves. So his leaves here represent his influence, okay, which I think there is a note on, so we'll leave that for later. Legendaries is hy. He is legendary. Opspoorder van harte. He is the tracker, the discoverer, the finder of hearts. Okay. Hy maak die pante bymekaar. A pant is like a piece of clothing, like a little piece of cloth. Okay. Hy maak pante bymekaar van 'n verskeurde land. He collects pieces of torn clothing from a torn, broken country. Van 'n verskeurde land. Again, there's the indentation. They just tab that. We'll look at that. Hy draai ons na mekaar toe vir mekaar. Hy dra ons na mekaar toe vir mekaar. He turns us towards each other, for each other. Sounds familiar, eh? It's that concept of Ubuntu. You live through other people, or by means of others you have an existence. You mean something because of other people, because they give you meaning. So Nelson Mandela had this ability to bring people together, whether it be the public or whether it be in high-end sort of offices, political seats and that. He could iron out differences and make people look at their own humanity. But we'll look more at that. That is sort of the theme of the poem, essentially. Hy, heelmaker van mense. He's the healer of people. Just like his dad was the healer of people. Okay? Hy stig vrede. He establishes peace. And then a repetition of the word vrede, herhaling, die ma van groot nasies. Peace is the mother of big nations. Peace is the mother of good, of big nations. Okay. So there's a lot to unpack there for us, but it's all in the notes. What I'm going to do is just clean this up. Clean this right up for us. And I'm going to take the English translation away now. So you can just go back to, let's say, 13 minutes if you want the English translation back again. It is there, just for the sake of space. Okay, so let's see if that works. Okay, now we can just make this a bit more visible and effective, hopefully. We can put that there and make that bigger like that. Lovely. Okay. Let's just take that away. Cool. So there's all the notes now, all nice and together. Should I make it a bit bigger? Let's make it 20 just so it's clearly visible on your screen. Cool. So the title here, Pryslied, a song of praise. So it's someone is being praised, someone's being honored. I'm just going to use the green. Someone is honored, vereer is honored, eh? Geprys is praised. In a lied, sort of in a song, or sometimes it's like a lyrical speech where it's someone sort of learns the speech well and they deliver it in an excellent way. In this instance, it's in the form of a poem. Okay, so you'll see it doesn't say, important in the title, it doesn't say die Pryslied, it just says Pryslied. There's no D. Alright, that makes it more general, makes it more universal. It applies to everyone in the world. Okay, and I mean that is what what makes Nelson Mandela so special is that his message, or the way he lived his life and conducted himself, inspired people on a global sort of level, on a universal level. En I say that Mandela het almal inspireer. Die pryssanger, the person singing or saying these words, vereer die persoon se eienskappe en prestasies. So they honor the person's qualities and his prestasies, achievements. Okay, so the background here, which we already spoke about, is it's as if it's the 10th of May. Hy vereer die Mandela asof dit die 10de Mei 1994 is toe hy president geword het. That's when he became the first black president of South Africa. The first post-apartheid president, when the NP government fell and the ANC became the dominant party. That this is the setting. Okay, so there's just those names you must learn. That's his mom, that's his place of birth, that's his biological dad, that's his great-grandfather, that's his guardian father. So just take that out. That belongs with the father. Then, first line, die sand klip hard. Interesting one. Okay, so it could refer to a few things here, I think. Okay, firstly, obviously, the literal color of his skin. Okay. Then, sandstone is soft. If you say someone's heart is made of stone, he's hard-hearted, that's not a good thing. Okay. If you say someone's soft-hearted, yes, then it's a good thing. So, and sandstone sort of crumbles when you crush it in your hand. You can crush it with your hands, and crumbles in your hands. So it verwys na die feit dat sy hart sag is. Hy's sagmoedig, he's soft-hearted, he's empathetic. Okay. It could also refer to the venue of this song, the plek, the color of the Union buildings in Pretoria, where he was crowned, bekroon, as president. So it could be the place. So 3 possible things there. I don't think they'll ask for 3 marks, but just so you have it. Then you'll see the alleenplasing here with vandag staan hy. Okay, this is to create a bit of spanning, skep, not spec, skep spanning, skep. He creates tension by this. Okay, he postpones the rest of the poem. So there's a lot of white space, so that means there's time that is spent there. It skep spanning in die toespraak. Okay. It also emphasizes the importance of the person. So sometimes someone will, in a speech, when they get to the important parts, they will slow down because they really want people to listen and to emphasize what they're saying. This is what's happening here. So that typographical isolation of those words there creates the tension, gives us a sense of the importance of the person. Belangrikheid, beklemtoon is emphasized. Kop en skouer, so head and shoulders, he stands above everyone else. Literally, he was quite tall, I think, not excessively, but figuratively, he was very tall. He would literally stand head and shoulders above all his peers. When people wanted violence, he wanted peace. When people wanted revenge, he wanted reconciliation, and so on. So his leadership, so figuratively, in terms of his leadership, his stature, his personality, his wisdom. So there's a few words that you can use to describe the literal meaning of how he's head and shoulders above everyone else. Okay, so in his hair he has charcoal and ash. This, on a literal level, refers to, verwys na sy swart en grys hare, his black and grey hair. He's got some grey hair, signs of wisdom, but there's also a lot of black hair, so he's not too old to rule. He's not too old to be the president. Just going to move this poem down a bit. Okay. And I said that there. Hy is wys, maar nog jonk en sterk. He's wise, but still young and strong. Also a cultural sort of reference to the ash and the fires of his youth, where he no doubt had to sit around fires and listen to old men talk and so on. Okay, maybe it's that. So there's two marks there. Third mark, the ash could also refer to the old regime, the apartheid regime, the apartheid government that's essentially burnt to the ground, completely collapsed, outvoted, end of an era, 1948 to 1994. Okay, lig, bruin should be, there we go. Okay, so sandkleurig, where are we now? Yeah, die sandkleurige seun. Okay, that refers to his Xhosa origins, afkoms, and his light brown skin. Okay, then there is mention of his mom. She gets mentioned twice in the poem. Okay, so her actual name is mentioned twice. 2 keer genoem. And there's indentation there. You see there? Okay, so that's her, emphasizes her importance in his life. Hoe haar belangrikheid in Mandela se lewe word beklemtoon. So it speaks about die ma se rol in vorming van die kind, the mother's role in the shaping and molding, forming a child. Okay, obviously very important. Vleesige handpalms, palmkussings, interesting. Figuratively, it could mean that he dealt softly with people. When he touched people in a figurative sense, het sagkens aan mense aangeraak. He was gentle. Sagkens is gentle. En goeie invloed op hulle gehad. He had a good influence on them. He had that magic touch, as it were. Okay, then there's this whole, they mention his whole family there. Why? Well, the family name and the ancestors, the literal ancestors, were important in the Xhosa culture. Why? It gives stature to a person, gee gestalte aan die persoon, gives importance to the person wat vereer word, that is being honored. It also honors in turn the family. That again, that idea of Ubuntu, we exist by means of or through my family, or through my community. Then this mentioning of the heelmaker, uit die Tembu stam. So this is referring to his father. This is not a medical healer or a Sangoma kind of healer. This is a healer of people, a healer of relationships between people. He managed to bring people together, to cut through suspicion, to cut through fear, to cut through feelings of revenge, to cut through hatred, and replace it with ideals of peace and love and freedom. That is again the theme of the poem. Yeah. Okay, I've moved the poem down again. So we were there. Okay. 'n klein swart ster priem sy bolop. This baffled me a bit. I don't know why a mole would say that it's a star. But it refers to that little mole evidently on his upper lip. So it's like a little star. It's like a mark, like a trademark or an identity mark. I think when the apartheid police were looking for him, that's one of the ways that they could identify him was that little mole that he had. But Why it's a black star, I have no idea. Maybe you have an idea, or your teacher has an idea. And prim means to pierce, so the mole is piercing his lip. I'm a bit lost with that one, I must admit. I can't seem to figure it out. If your teacher has something there, please use it. I'm sure it'll be fine. Ons prys hom, we honor him. The we are die skare, die mense in die skare. Okay, there. Waar hy president word, is also the universal person. The universal person, we praise him, we admire him, we love the things that he stood for. Okay, now this. Okay, lach of huil nie. It's mentioned twice, remember? The kind of person who doesn't laugh and doesn't cry strikes you as someone who is stable, in control of their emotions, calm under pressure, a strong leader, so a stoic, sort of strong personality maybe. That's what I think it means to me, at least. You might have a different idea there. Remember, this is very open to interpretations. So I said there, voor note there, matige emosies, sterk leier, altyd emosies onder beheer. You can't let emotions rule you when you've been in jail that long and you become president. I mean, imagine the chaos. If he was a hateful person, what could have happened to this country? Calm onder druk, calm under pressure. Maybe. I don't think this is really valid. I don't like this idea. Maybe his emotions are a bit numbed after all those years in jail. I don't think that's the case. I just think he's learned to control them. Okay, so I don't really agree with that idea, but you might think it's valid. Okay. Eerste ratelaar van Umkhonto weSizwe. Interesting to go and Google about the story of Umkhonto weSizwe. It literally translates as the spear of the nation. So it's they were part of the ANC, but they were the armed wing, the military wing, and it was right after Sharpeville. I think it was 1961 that when the Umkhonto weSizwe was founded, okay, by Nelson Mandela, and there was a small group of them who did this, and they decided that they're going to use sabotage. Okay, so controlled sort of violence to make the apartheid government aware that they are serious about regime change. And it's only, 13 years of apartheid. Okay, so it was early days in terms of apartheid. Mandela was the first leader, as eerste leier. Hy het beheerde sabotasie gebruik om die apartheid regering bewus te maak. So he used controlled sabotage to make the apartheid government bewus, aware of black problems, the sort of black questions, vraagstukke, issues, not questions, issues. Ratelaar is a leader, but it can also, a ratel can be, it's from the saying, so taai soos 'n ratel, it's tough. A ratel is forget what was called in English now. It's like a honey badger. What is it called now? That I think it's a badger. Tough animal. Ratel also was the name of the military. It was a military vehicle that was designed for the South African, or by the South Africans, and it was used in the army, and the police used it to suppress these revolts against apartheid. Die swart pimpernel, interesting. So he had a nickname. The apartheid police gave him this nickname. From the Scarlet Pimpernel. That's a story from, I think it's from 1905. It's from this Englishman that disguises himself to help French people escape the country during the French Revolution. So the apartheidspolisie se bynaam vir Nelson Mandela. It was their nickname because he was always escaping them. Hulle kon hom nie vang nie. He is always escaping. He used disguises fairly effectively. It was a bit glamorized, but he did use disguises. And then he was named after this Black Pimpernel, a held met 'n geheime identiteit. He was sort of this hero with this secret identity that helped the French people escape the revolution and get out of the country. Okay, interesting that they now use his, hier staan voor ons, Rolihlahla Mandela. Rolihlahla, that Roli means to pull out, and Ihlala is a branch, apparently. Okay, so a tak, so it's a branch that's being pulled that leaves marks. Getrokke, it means pulled. Okay, so the branch is a symbol of might and power. Okay, these sleepsels, these tracks and leaves, die blare val oral af, and these leaves that fall everywhere, they symbolize symboliseer sy invloed, his influence of hope en vrede. So he influences his hope and message of hope and peace, these leaves. Okay, so I would definitely maybe ask for that. Legendariese sy opsporer van harte. Interesting line. He discovers people's hearts. So maybe if people are very under pressure or been suppressed or oppressed, I mean, for so long, they lose a sense of their humanity. They sort of lose their heart. Mandela had this manner, apparently. He could see the best in people. He could speak to their humanity. Spreek tot hul menslikheid. In other words, speak to their hearts, not just their intellect, not just have an argument, but what was it that brought people together? What transcended race and class and that sort of thing? What was higher? What was a better ideal than just race? Okay. Pante van verskeurde land, these pieces of cloth of a torn country, and man, it was a torn country. Stukkies lap was a metafoor vir die gebroke land onder die wette van apartheid. It was a metaphor for the broken country under the laws of apartheid. Hy is bewus van die lyding. He was very keenly aware of the lyding, suffering. Bewus is aware. And that indentation there emphasizes this idea of brokenness and torn up. Hy draai ons na mekaar toe, vir mekaar. Again, that idea. So there's that Ubuntu concept. Okay, I think you would need a dash there. Bring rasse by mekaar vir gemeenskaplike doel. You would bring, so this is the theme. They would bring race together for a gemeenskaplike doel, for a common goal. Forget about race and language and that nonsense. What is our common goal as humans? That's what he was good at. A heelmaker, again, a healer. Okay, net soos sy biologiese pa. Hy maak gebroke verhoudings tussen rasse weer reg. He repaired broken relationships between races, not only between races, but also between classes, between language groups, between Zulus and Xhosas, between English and Afrikaans, it can go on and on. Okay, so and it's a universal message. It's applicable to so many areas in the world where there are still conflict, like the Middle East, for example. Okay, so herhaling van, so let's just move this down again, sorry, it's a long one, I know, almost done. So here there is this repetition of the vrede and vrede. Hy stig vrede. He establishes peace. He forced peace on the country as he became president. So it emphasizes his goal. Suid-Afrika kon net vooruit beweeg as daar vrede is. South Africa could only go forward, or beweeg is move, forward, if there was peace. Alle sterk nasies word gebou in toestand van vrede. All strong nations are built under conditions of peace. Wartime knocks a country back 10, 20, 30, 40 years in terms of economic growth and other factors. So what is the theme here? Well, we've touched on it a few times. To make it short and sweet, sterk leiers bring nasies en die wêreld bring mense. Oh, what did I write here? Sorry, this is a mess. Sterk leiers bring nasies nader aan mekaar. Sorry, let's just fix this. En mense. Okay, so sterk leiers bring nasies en mense nader aan mekaar deur vrede en hoop. I think that summarizes it. Strong leaders bring nations and people closer to each other, mekaar. Mekaar is each other, through peace and hope. That's what strong leaders do. They bring nations and people together through hope and peace. Okay, so there's no rhyme scheme, so it's to be expected, yeah. And why? Well, Mandela's sense of freedom and wisdom does not have any bounds. Does not have any boundaries. He had to go in without any mental boundaries to keep control and to keep peace in South Africa in those critical transition years. Okay, it's a lot of information. I hope it helps. Please support our books. I know it was a long video, but we're almost done. Please support our Afrikaans Made Simple workbook. Tell your friends, share this link with as many teachers and schools as you possibly can, just to help me out. Signing off until our next poem. Chat soon. Bye bye.